I have in a file in my kitchen a recipe that suggests you fill half a pumpkin with grated cheese and chicken broth, and you bake the whole thing in the oven until it becomes soup in a shell. Call me unimaginative, but I can't see my three young boys, who once trashed an entire pot of meatballs because they found out bay leaf in the tomato sauce, and having them go, "Wow, grated cheese and chicken broth and pumpkin soup. Let's chow down." So for 11 months out of the year, I pass over these recipes. Like I pass over the recipes for sweetbreads or salads made of flowers. I mean, who are we kidding anyway? With marigolds tossed lightly in lemon juice? Or of course, desserts that require you to churn. I mean, I figured churning was something our ancestors did. Then October comes. I found myself checking over that pumpkin soup recipe. I'm desperate. I'll do almost anything with a pumpkin at this point. I'm thinking of trying pumpkin doorstops, some pumpkin centerpieces, maybe even a paperweight or two. I've already tried pumpkin pie. I've already tried pumpkin bread. And by the last week in October, I'm going to have the largest collection of jack-o'-lantern in the Midwest. I'm the only person that I know who hopes kids will stop by on a mischief night and steal the pumpkins. I'm even thinking of leaving a paper bag full of auxiliary vegetables, hoping that maybe on a mischief night, who knows, kids will steal almost anything. Oh, I have no remorse about the fact they will take those bags home and their parents will open them up and take one look and yell, "Not green tomatoes, not steroid zucchini." I planted a vegetable garden. It seemed like a good idea at the time. I mean, the time was early May, and I hadn't had a good vegetable in months. I got carried away, you know. Seedlings look pathetic. 4 tomato plants, a single pumpkin vine, and a single spray of zucchini. They just didn't seem like enough. Then they grew. One day you go out to the garden, and the zucchini are the size of clubs. I mean, what are you supposed to do with zucchini like that? You can keep one by your bedside in case you hear noises in the middle of the night. You sneak downstairs with one of those, and the right sort of burglar, you know, the kind who knows his greens, is going to take one look at it and yell, "Not the zucchini," and run off. Meanwhile, you wait for the tomatoes, the Godot of vegetables. Tomatoes are a lesson in deferred gratification. I mean, first come those little white flowers, and then the bugs, and then little green tomatoes. I mean, you want the tomatoes. Because, I mean, although you can buy zucchini anytime, and you can buy pumpkins in October, you can't buy real tomatoes for most of the year. I mean, technology has advanced to the point where you can buy things that look like tomatoes and even smell like tomatoes, but they're not tomatoes. They're apples, bad apples in tomato clothing. But in your garden are real tomatoes. Big, round, juicy, promising looking, except the fact that they're green. For a very, very long time. I mean, what are you supposed to do with green tomatoes? Guess you could try green tomato chutney. I've got a recipe for that, but I can't imagine those 3 same boys yelling, "Hey, green tomato chutney again? Dig in!" Meanwhile, you eat the ripened tomatoes from the roadside stands. I'm not quite sure why theirs ripened long before mine, but I suspect that theirs wouldn't pass a drug test at the Olympics. Meanwhile, my pumpkins, they've crossed state lines. I mean, this is my first year with pumpkins. I thought it'd be nice to have, you know, a few in the garden in October and have the kids come down the garden and watch the pumpkins swell and turn from green to orange, I just never thought about how large they would become. And about the fact that the zucchini would still be there, hiding under the leaves like concealed weapons. Of course, the autumn leaves, they turn from green to red. And the tomatoes did not. Everything, of course, was very predictable. Everything ripened at precisely the same moment. And one week, 1,212 tomatoes turned red. All the pumpkins turned yellow, orange, and the zucchini disappeared. Oh, they didn't die. I simply left them in various mailboxes up and down the street. I tried to leave other vegetables too, but that was kind of hard because, of course, all my neighbors are having the same problem. At the end of one driveway there's a sign that says, "Don't even think of leaving produce." So, of course, I admitted defeat. I spent 3 long days locked in my kitchen making marinara sauce. You know, it occurs to me that as a child that we were lied to by our adults. How they told us this heartwarming story about how the Pilgrims invented Thanksgiving to share their harvest. The Pilgrims invented Thanksgiving to give away their pumpkins and probably green tomatoes and an enormous zucchini. I'm sure the Indians hated them for that. How little we've learned in 300 years.